All right. Well, from the top. Hi, Eric.
Hi, Cassie.
I've been trying to tell you this story for, I don't know, like a month now. My nephew, he's 5, right?
Yes.
And my mother-in-law was telling me the other day that they're getting ready for bed and everything. And they're doing like the little nighttime prayer, I lay me down to sleep.
Oh, that one?
And
They're
they
using that
get to
one?
the part, yeah, but they get to the part, if I die before I wake, right?
Yeah.
And he's like just repeating after them. And I guess they get to that part and he's like, wait, hold up. I'm going to die. And they're like, no, in case you do, you want the Lord to take your soul. And he was like, why am I going to die? I'm
You
not going
latched
to
onto the
bed.
wrong part.
Yeah. And they're saying how they're trying to put him to sleep, but now they're having this whole
Existential.
death conversation. Yeah.
It
And
was the
like,
first time
you're
the
going to be
concept of death
fine.
clicked in his head.
Because, he's newly 5 and everything. I don't
He's newly
like,
fine.
5 going on 6. It's like he's 4 turned 5, right? So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he's said that prayer many, many times. I'm sure he's aware of death in some way, but then also that, wait, I'm gonna die, not just death as a concept. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I don't remember as a kid how I put those things together. I don't know how kids put those thoughts together. You know what I mean?
I mean, I have no
So
recollection of which, as we've talked about, I have no recollection of my life, but I have no recollection of ever like any moment where I suddenly had the, oh, death is a thing, right? Like it wasn't a thing.
yeah,
Wasn't like it was
death.
always there. It wasn't like a
Well, yeah, it's like death
conscious
is a
that I have a
thing,
memory
but
of.
then not only that, but death is going to happen to me. You know what I mean? It's like I don't consciously remember coming to that conclusion or discussing it at any point. It's just a thing. Like as an adult now, it's just a thing I've known.
But you
You know what I
can't like
mean?
pinpoint a moment when it happened because it's kind of always just been there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And I think that's what's so funny with stuff like that, right? It's like we know in a sense we've all been there, but to actively be a part of when he's like, wait, hold up. I'm going to die tonight? What are you saying here?
Like, I don't
Like,
want to die tonight.
well, especially this was okay, so this was way back before Easter. So he had like Easter things, Easter plans. He's like, I have to hunt eggs tomorrow. I can't die tonight. Are you serious?
He's like, but what about all my laid plans? I was gonna go play in the sand tomorrow.
I had goals. I had dreams.
I had dreams for my life, and now they're all dashed to pieces by this concept of
Yeah.
mortality.
I should start asking him more questions. Like I ask him about school and his friends and if he had a good day and stuff like that. But I feel like I should just start asking him like really deep
You should
questions.
just
Like,
immediately be like, so, how do you feel about death?
so when you die, how do you want to be remembered? And he's gonna be like, I don't want to hang out with
Are
my
you
aunt
feeling
anymore.
cremation or burial?
He'll be like, I don't want her around anymore.
He's gonna
She
be like,
creeps me out.
can we not have her over anymore, ever again, please?
She really brings down all of the holidays.
I mean, I
Except
agree, but
Halloween. Halloween, I'm on point.
I
So
agree. I think you probably do bring down all the holidays, but
yeah.
so
Well,
he's right.
for you, it's just every day. It
He's
doesn't
wise
have to be
beyond
a
his years.
holiday. He is. He's a smart kid.
Because he
I
understands
don't
that
know.
you bring down the holidays. When you show up, everything gets worse.
I'm convinced that's why he can't remember my name. Because he's like, what's the point? What's the point of remembering
He's
you?
like, can we stop having Trey's wife come over, please?
Yeah, that really got me though when he's like, whose truck is that? And his mom's like, oh, that's your Uncle Trey's. He's like, Uncle Trey and his wife are here. Cool. It's like,
I love
well, all
how
right.
he just assumes that, like, if Trey's there, you're coming with. It's never like, oh, is she here too? It's like, no, automatically, if Trey's car is here, you're there.
Yeah, I think once Trey has gone to a family function without me.
I mean, who am I kidding? Trey doesn't go to things without, like, you.
Have you ever noticed how you subconsciously pick up on stuff going on, like trends or things that are popular? And what's really weird is I don't have social media, so I don't know how I pick up on these trends, but somehow I'm just a part of a trend and I'm like, where did this come from? You know? Um like I got my Jeep and then I became part of like the Jeep world. And then I was like, oh, you know what I want? I want like an old car that I can work on. And so then I decided on my Land Cruiser. And then to find out that this is like a hopping thing and people are really into Land Cruisers right now.
Okay, but cars
And
are a
right now,
bad
I mean like the
example.
last few years, right?
I feel like
I know,
cars
but
are a
it's the
bad
example I
example
had
because
right
there
now.
is a group for basically every car under the sun. Like, no matter what car you get, there's going to be some group of
Oh
people out there
no,
that
and
love
that's
that
the
car.
thing is like I know there's like you're always gonna have the people who love the car. I just meant more like the popularity spikes a little bit. Kind of weird.
Well, sometimes
Also, I guess,
that's that whole subliminal messaging thing where it's like there's a possibility that like you were like, oh, I want an older car, and then subconsciously you looked at Land Cruisers because like you'd
yeah,
seen stuff about them or something. Like sometimes
it's
there's
just
that
like
kind of.
on other things I was reading, maybe that popped up. I could see that because I feel that way about like we have dachshunds, and I'm sure dachshunds have been very popular for a long time. Always find dachshund stuff, especially like hot dog jokes and that, you know.
Well, of course.
But I do notice it more purely because I have dachshunds. So a lot of that could be like purely because I have those things or I'm interested in those things. I notice it more out in the world.
Well, that's
I
definitely a
think that's
factor because I know that there's like that's a super
yeah.
common thing is like the second you start like you get into something or like you learn more about it, then suddenly you notice it everywhere and examples of it everywhere. Like every time you come across it, you're just seeing it.
Yeah. I
And it's
mean,
not like
okay,
you didn't see it
so
before, you're just only aware of it now.
but maybe I'm just not aware of it because I was thinking when we were hanging out at your brother's house, he gave me the what was it, hand pan
Yeah.
to play, the little drum thing. And then
Not a
all of a
little
sudden
drum
I
thing, but
started
yeah.
well, yeah, I mean, I guess a good size, but just all of a sudden everywhere I started seeing that like in videos and stuff. Um
Well, that's probably
and
because
like
your
I
phone was listening the whole time.
well yeah, but also like I do yoga and meditation in that, so I think maybe it's like also those who had always been used. I was just more aware of what it was after that.
So what you're saying is you're gonna buy one so you can do the whole meditation thing with it.
Oh my gosh, I would love to buy one, but I think if I get any more hobbies, Trey is gonna lose his mind.
I mean, he'll get over it.
I think he's gonna be like, "You have enough hobbies.
I think you need at
Finish the
least.
hobbies you're on."
I think you need two more. I think you need two more hobbies.
You think I need two more
Two
hobbies?
more hobbies, and they need to be like
Yeah.
one of them needs to be like a mid-tier hobby, and then one of them needs to be like a
Mhm.
simple hobby. Because you know how like hobbies have a tier system, and in my brain, it's not a measurement of quality of the hobby, like how fancy is the hobby or how bougie is the
Yeah.
hobby. It's a measurement of how much of your time that hobby takes, right?
Yeah.
So like if it's a hobby like say your hobby is like painting, right? Like that could be a mid or
Mhm.
higher tier hobby because depending on how much you're doing the hobby, it's a time
Mhm.
intensive thing. Whereas like if your hobby is like coin collecting, that's kind of like a low mid tier hobby because it's in my brain passive, right? Because it's something you can do that doesn't take necessarily a whole lot of effort. I mean, obviously there's still effort, like depending on how serious you are, like if you're going to shows or conventions or whatever.
That's what I was just thinking. I was like, I think that takes way more time and
It does,
effort.
but I'm like, what I'm
Actually,
saying is
I would
like,
flip the
if
two
your
of those.
hobby is
But I know what you're
painting, right,
saying.
it takes active
Yeah.
effort to sit down and paint. Whereas coin collecting, you could
Mhm.
do well doing other things. Like you could be watching a movie and still be quote unquote coin collecting because you could be looking for coins or something, right? Whereas, like,
Yeah.
okay, that's a bad example because you can paint while watching a movie, but you know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean. I think actually right now, and because you know everybody's really into recession era vibes. I'm
Sourdough.
just gonna make that a and sourdough. Yeah. Well, I can't do sourdough. I mean, I could. I'm just not going to. I think my new hobby this year is to complete a hobby, and
How would
I
one
mean like
complete a
projects.
hobby?
Not
Like,
complete
get
a
all the
hobby, but
achievements,
complete
100% your hobby?
projects.
You're like, I did
Yes.
it,
I
100%
think
of it.
if I can actually use up my entire store of something like fabric or paint or scrapbooking materials or markers or whatever, actually get through all my colored pencils, I think that would be like completing a
I don't
hobby.
think people get through colored pencils. I'm pretty certain they just slowly break and then you throw them away and buy new ones, but you never actually get through them. Kind of like
Right.
pens.
That's my
Nobody
goal.
ever actually finishes a pen. They just go missing and then you end up buying new ones.
No, that's just at work.
No, no, I think in
That's
general,
just,
I don't think people
just at
finish
work.
pens. They
People
either
take your
dry out or
pens.
they go missing.
Really? Oh, that's so
Have you
interesting.
ever
Trey
finished a
and I
pen?
both finished pens.
I've
Yeah,
never
I actually
finished a
just
pen.
finished one the other day.
Nope, not
And
once.
then yeah, and I know Trey finishes his pens because he'll have a pen for forever.
Wow.
And then he'll finally be like, ah, my pen ran out of ink. I gotta get a new pen.
Nobody steals his pens?
No, but so like at his old job, he clipped them like he had like painter's pants or like cargo pants or whatever. So he would clip his pen to his pants all the time. And then I think at his new job, I would guess he just, I don't know, just keeps them at his desk. I don't
Honestly,
think
I'm
anyone
surprised at his
steals
new job. Like, I
pens.
get the last job because obviously, if you don't have like a desk job, there's a level of the pen's always on you. But I feel like at his new job, I'm
Hmm.
surprised his pens don't get stolen.
I think because, and I could be wrong, but I think he told me that he writes stuff down more than other people. I think everyone else kind of puts like type stuff in. or keeps like digital notes,
Because
but
he's
he's a
old
pen
and
and
old
paper
fashioned.
are very like pen and paper kind of people.
Because you're old and old fashioned.
Yes.
You're like from the Stone Ages. I'm surprised you're not like quill and
Well, that
slate
wouldn't be pen
persons.
and paper. Yeah, it's a different
You're
media
like chisel
entirely.
and slate, or like charcoal and slate, or not charcoal, chalk and slate, like quill and wax board.
No, go on, please.
Also,
Uh-huh.
so obviously like ancient styles of writing, right? You had like the parchment, you had
Yeah.
quills, you had
Mm-hmm.
slates, whatever. So there's this
Mm-hmm.
book I was listening to recently, and they talked about, and I've heard this in other things, like the quill and like the wax board thing. But how does that even work? Is it like a one-time thing, or is it because it's soft wax you can like smear it all together and then do it again or something? Like I don't know what a wax board.
Oh, I don't actually really know what that is either.
But like I'm assuming you've heard it before, right? Like the writing on like a
Yeah,
wax board thing.
but it's one of those things like it says it and then you never
Well,
think
especially
about
when
it.
it's like in a like a book format. You're like you just move on. You're like, yeah, they're writing on something with something.
All right, I was trying to look it up and I'm just getting a lot of interesting
The
here we
wrong thing.
go. Here we go.
I found
Wax
it too.
tablet. Wax tablet
A
is what we
wax
wanted.
writing board, also known as a wax tablet, is a wooden tablet with a surface covered in wax. So it's exactly what I said. It's because you could write on it, read it, and then scrape it off and re-put wax on it and be able to do more. And it's a stylus. Yeah, they use a stylus to write with it to press in the wax surface.
Yeah. Do you
And then you
think
could use the flat or blunt end of the stylus to smooth the wax out, and then be able
do
to
you
do it again.
think you knew like the poorer people because they just had like sticks, like chiseled sticks, and if you're
Instead of like a
rich, then you
fancy
had like
stylus.
a fancy stylus, maybe with some like detailing on it,
I'm just
And then
picturing
they're
this like
like,
I
oh
have an
man,
elk horn stylus, and the other person just has like a twig.
yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
Is it
There's some
terrible?
really cool ones for
For sale.
sale on Etsy.
I was just about to
And then
say, is it weird that I kind of want to buy one just because?
you can't, you're brittle, but I will definitely make note of it for birthday or Christmas gifts.
I just think it would be kind of fun. They're probably weird, but
Let me just
seem
write that
kind of
down.
fun.
Wax writing tablet
I mean, I don't know what I would do
and
with it, but it's
stick.
kind of an interesting idea.
I'm not getting you a stylus. You're only getting a stick.
Because I'm broke.
I don't want people to steal your wax tablet. They're gonna be like, oh, he's rich. Look at that stylus.
It's like, whoa, he's got a wax tablet. He must be worth a lot.
He's so fancy.
The interesting part is that most of the ones I'm seeing, and even the historical ones, were like two tablets tied together, so it would close like a book almost. Huh.
Yeah, no, that's really cool, especially if you took notes of something, but you wanted to preserve it until you got somewhere that you were gonna like transfer it over or,
Yeah.
Whatever. That's really
weird.
smart too, though, because imagine if you had like secret notes, like military notes or something, and then you got abducted, then you could easily just take it off. And like,
Assuming
yeah,
they
the notes
didn't,
were
like,
gone.
catch
But
you. Ooh, better yet, if it's like a wax
well, I just mean
that's
it's
really
faster than
flammable.
trying to like burn a note. You know what I mean?
Well, you know how like some wax is really flammable? If you had like flammable wax is the wax you're using, then you could just light it on fire, the whole thing would just go up in flame.
And you could throw it at them.
And then you could throw it at them, and then you could escape, and then you could go tell your people the message you had in person, and then be labeled as a war hero.
Hopefully. I mean, best case scenario.
And this may be a thing that exists historically. I don't know.
Mhm.
But is there a way to use like wax, like a wax stick? Theoretically, carve a shape into the wax tablet and have it be sturdy enough that you could ink it and then use it as a stamp and then like clean it and redo it and have like a changeable stamp.
I mean, I feel like, okay, obviously, I know it sounds silly. Like now, probably, yes, right? Back in the day, I could see that maybe that was something they had, I don't know. That would be so interesting. Can we get wax and try to make our own changeable stamp?
We could try.
Because I'm just thinking like there's got to be a kind of wax out there that you can solidify to a point that you could use it like a stamp, but then sort of re-soften it to be able to make it like pliable again. You know what I mean?
Well, like the problems
So-
I would foresee would be it being too soft. So when you stamp it, especially since you want to press like fairly hard to make sure it stamps cleanly, you don't like deform it. And also cleaning it, because if it absorbs the ink, then you're going to have a really messy thing. You'd have to like take all the wax off,
Ooh.
apply new wax.
That's true.
But if it's something that, like you said, could harden, like maybe you could stamp it or like carve it, and then it would
kind
be
of
fairly
wash
hard.
it. Yeah.
And then you could like obviously you couldn't do it like back to back, but if you had one that you could like carve it, stamp it with it, wipe it off with like a cloth, and then like put like the wax carvings back on and just reheat it and melt it flat again.
Yeah,
Or
because
like
I
if you
guess I
had
was just
if
thinking
you had like
like,
a holder, if you had some sort of wax holder that had like for even like ancient times, right? That had like a coal to it
yeah,
that would heat it up, so you could hold it upside down and it would heat it and to melt it to where it was flat, and then you would just take the coals out and it'd cool and harden flat, and then you could recarve it.
yeah, we're gonna figure this out, and then we're gonna feel really stupid.
I think
Is
we're
what's
going to
gonna
do all of
happen here.
this, and then if and when anyone ever actually listens to the podcast, there's going to be a commenter that's like, that exists and it's called such and such. We're going to be like, how come neither of us knew that?
I mean, here's the thing. Do I absolute wow, don't know where
Absolutely.
that word was. I don't know where that word was going.
I know where it was going.
I
Absolutely.
believe that that's a thing now because there's so many cool things out there now, right? And things that I don't understand how they work. I want us to figure it out because I'm like, if we can figure it out, then like ancient Romans figured it out because they were definitely smarter than the two of us combined.
rather than an are you smarter than like a fifth grader test, it's an are you smarter
Yeah.
than ancient Romans?
Are you smarter than ancient Romans? You know how many people would probably fail, honestly?
So you're going to build it based on like the test is based on like historical Roman writings and what we know of the like their knowledge of
yeah,
stuff.
what seemed to be their basic knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. That would be a great show, and I bet a lot of people would fail.
And then it would play into that whole thing that was going around a couple years ago, and by couple I mean like 5, of the whole like the average they used to claim the average guy thought of ancient Rome at least like once a day, which is wild to me.
That is wild. Even if that were true at a point, that had to have changed. I wonder what the average guy thinks about now. Like what's become the new ancient Rome?
Oh, Macedonia.
Oh.
Which is part of Greece. So ancient Greece instead of Rome, similar but not quite the same.
Yeah. Yeah, different.
Every guy thinks of Atlantis at least once a day now. That's a thing.
Not Kyle.
Not Kyle, because he gets so mad on the theory that it could maybe exist.
It could maybe possibly exist.
It's not like we were saying like the Fountain of Youth or like El Dorado. Atlantis is at least somewhat more plausible.
Atlantis in the way that was that Disney? Was that the Disney movie, Atlantis? With Milo?
One? I think so.
Yeah. Okay. The way that movie portrayed it, no, right? I just don't think that's existing. In the fact that was there a city swallowed by the ocean? Yeah, probably happened.
I mean, statistically, probably because people didn't know. Well, okay, I say this, Romans did, but everyone else didn't know like how to build a city and where to build it that was going to be stable. So.
Well, and not only that, but even like they talk about even cities we have now that just over centuries, the water, the land, like all that stuff will kind of shift, and that even if it was a city they built a long time ago and then many years later erosion or whatever caused the city to fall, right? It's just it just happens. Humans are dumb.
Did you ever hear about that thing about like Roman cement? I don't know if it's true. The kind of cement that like Romans used was some recipe that was lost to time because it was like such a common thing. No one wrote it down, and we still don't know exactly what it was in it. But it's like it seems to be based on what we found in like archaeology stuff. It lasts better than any cement we have.
Well, yeah, because aren't they saying that's like what most of their roads and buildings were made out of that are still like holding very strong?
Yeah,
even
and supposedly,
after all this time and weather,
or if it's still true because it could have been true at one point. But supposedly we don't even know entirely what it is made out of because like it's hard to reverse engineer or something from like a hardened form or something.
Well, I imagine, yeah, just because things alter. If they heated it or whatever they did to combine it, it would alter the matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The materials in that. So, yeah, I mean, that makes sense that we can't figure it out. But yeah, that is interesting. I wonder what is so commonplace now that we don't think about it. And like we don't write it down. But many generations from now, they're going to be like, how did they do it? Not now because everything's documented, but you know what I'm saying?
Well, actually,
there's got to be something we're not documenting, and we should be.
That's actually a thing that is like something with historians and stuff is I don't remember what they call it, but it's that term for like when things don't get written down because at the time they seem commonplace. And we have other examples of that because we have writings from like some random European villages where we don't even know what it was, but it was some like practice that they did in that village that was like a ceremony that we only know of by name because no one ever described it because it was commonplace. And like term that they use in history and historic stuff, and it's to the point where like now there are books. Granted, there's some like famous examples, but even just regular historic stuff, there's a lot of things where they write down like everything in like when you're keeping records because you never know what may or may not be like lost to time if you don't write it down.
But that's what I wonder. There's got to be a lot of things. right?
Well, I mean, I would say historically
That
yes, but
we
because of the internet, I kind of doubt it. I bet it's a lot less likely now.
I was just thinking though, I had seen this. I wish I could remember where I saw it. It was like a documentary, but it was really cool. And it was this lady talking about how there was this artifact, and I think it was from Rome. I could be completely wrong on that. I don't remember. But scientists have been trying to figure out for like decades now, like what it is, because it doesn't really look like art. It's like just this orb with like little knobs and dents and stuff on it.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't think it was art, like it's not sculpture. And they just like couldn't figure out what it was. And this one lady, she does a lot of research into tribes and how tribes functioned and stuff. And it was really funny because she realized when she was working with this tribe in Australia that they have these little tablets that everybody makes, or like the tribe will make together, and they'll put different markings or like rocks, seashells, like whatever on this tablet, and you carry it with you, and it helps you remember things like, oh, the river's this far away, this is a good spot for fishing, right? This is where you find fresh water. And it's just like, it's like a little like notebook they have essentially, but it's just like one little item, and it the little things on it will remind them of stuff.
Yeah.
And she showed it to one of the tribal leaders, this like ancient artifact. She showed him a picture of it, and he was like, oh yeah, that's their version. He's like, you can tell, right? And it was so funny because they started looking at it from that point of view, that, oh, maybe this was like a tool. They started like figuring more stuff out about it. But it was so funny because they've been trying for decades to figure it out. And this one guy, because their tribe still uses that technique, looked at it immediately, was like, yeah, it's really obvious. You guys are just stupid. Like,
It's not even.
but
I mean, yes, it is stupid, but it's not even stupid. It's just
no,
more
it's
level of
just
like.
more like, because that's not the culture you're used to. That's not how you do things,
Yeah. Well, and there's a level of like, not even culture, but almost like, I think, and I don't know if this is always the case because obviously I'm not a historian, but I feel like there's this tendency among historians sometimes to, like treat everything as hyper important, right? Like every artifact you find, you're
Mhm.
like, oh, this could be the next whatever that's gonna change the way we view whatever, and it's like, no, for all you know, that could be like a child's
That
play
was
toy, right? Like it's not necessarily
Yeah,
something
that was
significant.
absolutely nothing.
And I feel like the space on the story you just said, it's kind of the same idea where it kind of feels like there was a level of
It's
trying
like
to trying to like explain away or make it seem more significant than it potentially was, right?
it's like the Little Mermaid
Yeah,
when
yeah.
every artifact she finds, she's like, this is amazing.
And you're like,
And
it is
it's like,
cool, but
nah,
at the
it's
same point, it's probably not necessarily like, oh, this was used in council meetings to determine whether or not someone was guilty, right? It's like, no, it could be a toy. It could have been a commonplace item, right? It doesn't
yeah,
necessarily have
like
to be
this
significant.
this isn't as cool as you think it is. But if you like it, go ahead. I'm just trying to think of other things. I feel like they do that a lot in movies though, where there's always like the person that's not from that world or society, and they just find everything fascinating.
Well, I mean, historians tend to find everything fascinating anyway. Like, if you're good into history and you're doing it because you like it, you're going to find everything fascinating regardless, usually.
So I was talking to my mom, and we were talking about how you just get so used to things that you almost like forget how things used to be. Because I was saying like no one talks about their odometer in their car rolling over, because that's not how cars work, right? Like that's not how your odometer works anymore. And then she was saying how it'd be wild if she could go back in time to her childhood, like when the grocery store doors weren't automated and you actually had to push them, right? And she's like, that would throw you off. But then I kind of think the reverse, like if you came forward in time, you would just be amazed by everything. You'd be like,
Oh,
whoa.
well, that's one of those things where, and I think about this fairly often, well, not fairly often, but I think it from time to time, where like, and especially if you're talking to someone about like some hypothetical science thing, right? Like technology.
Yeah.
And I feel like scientists and a lot of other people throw this around too, where they're like, oh, that's impossible, right? Like, especially because
Yeah.
they'll be like, oh, given the knowledge we have of science, that's impossible. There's no way. Like, particles don't react like that, or yada, 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 right? And I'm like,
Right. For
well,
now.
that may be true. And there is a level of like, we have a lot more advanced scientific knowledge now than we did, like, say, even 100 years ago, right? I'm like, there
Yeah.
still comes a point where prior to like the invention of the airplane, you take someone from like 100 years prior, so like it wasn't even a thought really, they would have looked at an airplane and said, scientifically, based on the knowledge we have, that is impossible. Or like almost any modern technology, half people like 300, 400, whatever, however long you have to go back to make it like far enough, would look at it and say that's impossible. So I'm like, it's interesting to me how often I feel like I still hear, oh, it'd be impossible thrown around when I'm like, scientifically speaking, all of this was impossible at one point. It's not impossible. We
Like
just don't know how to yet.
yeah, it is impossible right now. Later though, it won't be.
Well, and the problem is I get like the modern day thinking with certain fields of science is that like, oh, we've got absolutely everything there is to figure out, and just purely based on science, we know it'd be impossible because of X, Y, and Z, right? And it's like, well,
Yeah.
that may be true. They would have said the same thing back then, so what makes us more confident that we're right as opposed to back then when they weren't?
Because we're here and they're not. So obviously, we know what's going on.
Maybe.
No, I do think it's interesting though that in a weird way, yeah, you do have this like kind of divide between people where it's like, oh, we clearly don't know all of it yet, you know? But then there's also this kind of, yeah, but we clearly know everything.
Everyone everywhere has always thought we knew everything. Like any point in history, most of the people would say, oh, we know everything there is to know.
Yeah.
Now, granted,
I just
I would
think
say
it's
nowadays, I actually
interesting.
don't think most people would say that. I bet most scientists would admit that we don't know everything there is to know.
Interesting that science has stayed so intriguing to people because yeah, if you thought we knew everything, like why'd you even keep bothering, you know? Like because there's that like one guy that was like, oh, but we don't.
Well, I saw this thing that was talking about like the periodic table, and they were
Yeah.
saying how, because people talk about like, oh, what if you've discovered new elements? And it's like, there's like, realistically, there's nothing else left to discover in theory, because like
Yeah.
the atomic number on like I think it's the atomic number on a periodic table for an element is based on how many like protons I think it has, right?
Yeah.
And they're basically
I don't
saying
know.
it's like there's no gaps. They're like from 1 to whatever it is at currently, they're like there's no gaps, which means every single element that could exist is already there. They're like the only things that exist
Yes.
past that are completely man-made elements that are made by like forcefully putting more protons into an element. And they're like the problem is you get so dense and so whatever that they decay almost instantly or are so radioactive or whatever that they're like they're basically impossible to really have function. So they're like realistically in the field of like chemistry, they're like every element that could exist already exists. So they're like the study of not chemistry is not about trying to discover new elements. It's about trying to figure out all the different interactions, because the thing we don't know is how every single one of those elements interact in every single situation.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was like, it's not even trying to discover new things. It's just like, how did the things we know even work?
Yeah, and that's
Like,
basically what they were saying. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting.
what are all the applications of what we already know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was so bad at chemistry in school, so I have no more comments on chemistry.
I only did chemistry once. I did it as a college class, and it was
Yeah.
pretty easy. Well, it was okay, relative. It was not easy in some senses. In other senses, it was because they didn't have any memorization stuff in that one, so it wasn't
Yeah.
like you had to memorize a periodic table or anything. It was more you had to be able to like decipher what the different bits of the periodic table are, and then there was some other stuff in there,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like, oh, memorize this whole thing kind of situation. So
Yeah. I just remember I did chemistry in high school. I was really bad at it, except for balancing equations. So the only part I think I was good at was the math part of it. That was it. And then I was like, I'm out of here. I don't want to be
But
in
were
this
you good
class
at math?
anymore. Yeah, I was good at math to a point. I got to calculus and then just I had no more interest in math.
So you could do math up to calculus.
Yeah.
So you could do
And I'm
like,
sure if I had cared and I tried and I put the effort in, I probably could have figured out calculus. I was like, I am not going in any type of career field that needs calculus.
but you were like
So I'm
basic
good.
arithmetic, 1 plus 1, that I can do.
That I got. Algebra, done. Geometry, no one needs it. When do you ever use geometry?
I feel like, because I've had this conversation
kidding.
with somebody, I feel like geometry is one of the few fields of math that you actually do use. I'm like basic arithmetic,
yeah, that's what I
multiplication,
was
addition,
kidding. I was
subtraction,
like-
division, and geometry are the only real math you actually use in a day-to-day basis. And even geometry depends on what you're doing, but I feel like it's used more than most other math.
Yeah, I think algebra, aside from basic math, I think algebra and geometry you probably use the most depending on your work.
You use algebra?
I would.
What do you use algebra for?
I mean, there's got to be places you use algebra, right? Like, I don't know. You're doing a home project and you're trying to figure out how many of whatever you need, you know?
I think the only part of algebra you use, which, I mean, for all I know, this may just be all of algebra, but the only part of algebra that you use is the part that's like being able to take a given real world situation, that has like an x in a given spot, and then knowing how to rearrange it into an
Yeah.
equation that's solvable, right?
Yeah.
But
I mean,
for
I
me,
just
that's the only like
sometimes I
real
think
world
about it
application
and
of
I'm
algebra,
just,
and I get that like at its core that is algebra, but
yeah.
it's like all the complicated algebra. I'm like that doesn't come up all that often in real life.
What's complicated algebra?
Well, I'm saying like when you have like multiple unknown factors or like you're dealing with X,
Oh,
Y, and Z
yeah.
and whatever.
I don't know how often you're doing that. But that's what I mean. I think it's debatable depending on the job you do, what you're doing. But calculus, who's ever been in their daily life being like, "Oh, thank goodness I know calculus."
I'll be completely honest.
Other than people who actually do use that for work, which would be, like mathematicians, scientists. Maybe.
Completely honest,
I don't even know that scientists all use it.
I don't even know what calculus is, like as a category. Like I know what geometry, like
Yeah.
you like in the same way you know what geometry is, right? Like you know what shapes.
It's
I'm like,
a
what is
lot of
calculus actually?
graphing, to be honest with you. That's what I remember about calculus. A lot of graphing, you know, and where do they intersect on the graph? And I don't know. This is why I didn't finish calculus. Because I don't get it and I don't care to learn.
So did you like drop that class or fail that class or
I
something?
was taking it in high school and I could have stayed my last semester of high school and I could have like tried to get college credit for it, but I decided to graduate early instead. So,
Ah,
and I remember I told my calculus teacher, I was like, I'm graduating early. I'm not going to finish this out. I'm just going to take the grade at the end of this semester as my grade and move on. And she was like, "You're not going to stay and take the, I can't remember what it was called, like the test to see if you, because it was like on a scale of 1 to 5. If you got like a 4 or 5 or something, I think you could count it for college credit or something like that, but whatever." And then I was like, "No." And she was really upset that I wasn't going to stay. And then I said, "Do you think I reasonably could pass?" And she just went, "You know what? It's been really great teaching you, like." Like she immediately like just backed off and was like, "No, you're right. You should just leave."
she's
I'm
like,
like,
you're
"Yeah,
not gonna stick
we
around and
both
do this
know."
class. And you're like, were you gonna give me a passing grade? And she's like, you should go.
Yeah, maybe you should just go. Like she was very sweet. And I didn't fail. I think I got a B in the class, but that was also just like that was a real struggle to get a B. So it was
You
like
didn't fail the
there's
class.
no way this is. Huh?
You didn't fail the class.
I didn't fail it. No.
Weird.
I know. It's just I saved up failure for after high school.
You saved up your failure for life.
Yeah. It was like I'm going to wait till I'm in the real world and then I'll fail.
Honestly, fair.
Yeah. I mean, you fail as a kid, then, people are disappointed in you and there's, consequences. You fail as an adult, it's like, bummer. Life goes on.
Weirdly enough, I feel
You
like you have those two things backwards. I think you fail as a kid and they're like, oh, whatever, life learning moment, like life lesson moment. You fail as an adult and it's more likely to be a problem.
I mean, depending how you fail. Yeah. Depending the style of failure you
Okay,
choose.
but I'm assuming it's a pretty significant fail.
I think failing a class pretty insignificant. Unless I guess maybe it's like an AA kind of class. I guess that's a failure.
Alcoholics Anonymous?
Yeah. Not that that's a class, but
Yeah, it's not a class. It's a gathering.
what kind of classes could you fail as an adult?
I think.
And
Okay, but not to belittle anyone in an AA or some such similar meeting, but I feel like being in it in the first place is a little bit like you fail to get into the class. You don't fail the class.
I see what you're saying. It's like the class is you correcting mistakes before.
Yeah, the class
You're
is
like,
you acknowledging that you
I
failed
already went
already
there.
and then you need the help.
I could see that, But the success is that you got the help, right?
Yeah.
But what else could you like? But I meant like just classes. Like you're an adult, you're in a class. What could you fail that has any kind of like repercussion?
Well,
Can't
any
think of
kind
anything.
like class that is required to get a job. So say you're taking like a class, like a driver's test has pretty real repercussion. Driver's class.
That's true. That's true. Like a driving test for your job specifically.
Or even just a driving test in general. Because if you took like a driver's class and then failed the driver's test, that's technically you failed a class that has repercussions.
I guess if you need any kind of class to get promoted at work, that could be considered.
If you
a failure.
failed a class action lawsuit, you could probably it'd have some serious repercussions.
That's true. That's a good one.
If you fail to have class, it could have repercussions.
That's, well, it, yeah.
I love how you almost said no, but then you're like, actually, he's right. Actually, he's right. 100%.
I mean, it could have repercussions. Do you care what those repercussions are? That's up to
Well,
you.
I don't,
you know?
but some people might.
I get. That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's up to the person. How
I'm
do you
trying to
know if
come up with
someone's
more, and
classy?
I'm drawing a blank on it.
Like, how do you, when you meet someone, how do you immediately know if they're classy?
It's got cool shades.
Like, you see someone with really nice sunglasses and you're like, they are a classy person.
No, actually, realistically, I feel like it's a lot more than that. But like cool shades, not necessarily a nice watch, because I don't think the price tag matters. But like a cool watch, I think could make them classy.
You mean like an actual watch though, right? Not like a smart watch.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Like
mean
a
like
real
one of those,
watch
like,
tends to be
like
classier.
a real analog watch. Got it.
I'm thinking,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I think class.
I'm trying to think.
If you're thinking classy, not like class as far as, oh, they have class like oh, they're rich kind of class, but if you're saying classy,
No,
like,
yeah,
the
like you think
vibe
they're
of classy.
like a classy
let's say
person.
classy
Their
in
personality
the
is
same vein as
classy.
saying like hipster or saying like goth, right? Like an aesthetic, like classy
Yeah,
aesthetic.
yeah, they're classy.
I feel like it's
they're a classy
okay.
person.
I don't know why, but this is what I'm picturing.
Mm-hmm.
I blame culture. I'm picturing like
Always.
real analog
Always blame
watch
culture.
that's like a silverish color, right? Like with a fancy face. I'm picturing like a short sleeve button up like polo-y like stripy shirt that's like costs $170, like the ones in that magazine I was showing you. I think okay, so weirdly enough, in my brain, classy is also coming across like preppy, but like not in a college sense, but like, you know, someone who kind of has a preppy vibe but after college kind of thing.
Like, you wouldn't be surprised if they own their own set of golf clubs.
Yeah. And I'm also picturing like, you know, the sweater that's tied around the shoulders kind of thing.
Is it yellow?
Yeah,
Like
actually.
baby
I don't
blue?
know why, but I'm picturing yellow. Yeah. And they're wearing like, maybe even has like a bracelet on the other wrist that's not like a watch or something. I don't know. But not like a gaudy one, like a subtle something.
Interesting.
And
I feel like the watch.
They're wearing sunglasses, but they're wearing like the lightly brown tinted sunglasses, kind of sunglasses.
Yes, I do. I do want to comment though that the watch, the wristband has to be like a leather.
Yeah.
It can't be it can't be metal. It has to be like a leather wristband.
The other version of classy is, I think there's a level of dressed up like suit and tie type thing that can qualify as classy, but it has to be a certain vibe, because you get over that and you have like, they look dapper, not classy, right? So it's like there's a level of it's like dressed up, but in like a somewhat casual dressed up.
Do you feel like it's like a classy person is someone that no matter how they dress, they could easily go to like a picnic or a backyard barbecue, but they could also go to like a nice dinner?
Yeah, like not necessarily a black tie, but like if they could be,
I just mean like
they could be casual enough to be at a barbecue and not feel out of place, but fancy enough that they could also go
but they
to
could
like
easily leave that barbecue and go straight to like
a country
nice
club, right? Like a country club kind of
dinner. Yeah, that's true.
Snobby jerk neighbors in movies. A little bit,
if you know what I mean. Be those neighbors. Yeah, I want to be those neighbors.
You want to be the classy neighbors?
I want to be the classy neighbors. We're not, but something to aspire to.
Well, clearly you're not the classy neighbors. Classy neighbors wouldn't own a pizza oven.
The classy neighbors, they live 2 houses down from us, and their house is beautiful. I don't know about the inside, but the outside, really nice.
Do they own a pizza
And then
oven?
I don't know. I haven't been in their backyard, but like they have their garage door open sometimes. Their garage, spotless garage. He has like a workbench with a few things. There's like nothing else in the garage. It's amazing. And they're very friendly and super nice. Not so friendly to have invited me over for pizza with their pizza oven, but pretty friendly. So I was just thinking like they're classy people, you know.
Are they the kind of nice that you wouldn't be all that surprised if they were also like the worst people ever if you actually knew them?
No, I think I'd be shocked actually.
Like if you found out they were part of a pyramid scheme?
Not even part of it. It is their scheme.
If they were running a pyramid scheme?
They're running the pyramid scheme.
Because you know how there's that level of class too, right? Like they look nice.
No, because like I said,
they're embezzling something kind of people.
There was nothing in their garage. Everybody knows that people with a pyramid scheme, their garage was packed full of whatever it was they were trying to sell.
Oh, of what they're selling specifically. I thought you were just gonna say packed full. I'm like, so you're saying all those people that you open their garage, it's just wall of stuff. They're all involved in pyramid schemes.
Just every person you see with a garage sale with a garage full of stuff, you're like, You run a pyramid scheme, huh?
Just show up and you're like, pyramid scheme, huh?
Yeah, mine didn't work out either.
That happens, that's life.
If you were going to run a pyramid scheme, what would you try to sell? Would you go
think-
like the
I
home
think the best
cooking?
pyramid
Would you go
schemes-
fitness?
No, the best pyramid schemes are something that is untangible, right? Like so, like a fitness plan or like
Ooh, where people buy it and then they
long-term
forget
investment
about
stuff.
it. Yeah.
Because it's the kind of thing you buy or pay for and then forget about, but it's like, but you need to do it
Mhm.
because you're investing in your future kind of stuff.
That's
better
a good
yet,
one.
Better yet. I think my pyramid scheme would be some sort of like long-term investment thing for like your kids. So it's like a college type investment fund or like your
Ooh.
kids retirement fund thing. Because that not only is it like, oh, you need to do it now, but it's also like if you do it sooner you do it, the better it grows, and also like you're investing in your kids' future type thing, because that's how you get people.
Well, and if you're one of those good pyramid schemes where it doesn't collapse for a long time, then you can also catch them with their grandkids.
Well, and that's the other thing, right? Is that if
Yeah.
you set it as like a kid or a grandkid investment, then it takes a long time to fall apart because it takes a long time for people to realize it's all fake.
That's the thing. But then, you're like, oh, your kid's older. You don't want to withdraw their money yet. Just start saving for your grandchildren.
Exactly.
But also, I watched a thing. I love watching documentaries. I don't know if you know that about me. I watched a thing and they were talking about pyramid schemes. I think it was specifically Lululemon. No, not Lululemon. LuLaRoe. That
I was
was
gonna
it.
say Lululemon. I didn't
is.
think was a pyramid scheme.
They are. They're just really successful at it.
They just haven't. It hasn't fallen apart yet. That's a joke. For legal reasons, that's a joke.
Just joking. I have a thing from Lululemon. It was a gift and it's amazing. High quality stuff. But no, LuLaRoe, they sold leggings. Basically, they were talking about though that there is like a sweet spot where you can actually get like there's a point where the pyramid scheme really is functioning and does work the way it's supposed to work and you're getting what you're actually supposed to get from it and all this kind of stuff. They were saying that it's just that people, obviously the people within the pyramid scheme, they're making all this money and instead of being like, I've made the money I need to make, I'm getting out now. Obviously they just keep trying to go and keep trying to get more money. Forget like going back in time and trying to play all the lottos. Just hit all of the pyramid schemes and just get out right before they fail, like make all the money and then bail.
Okay, but fair. If you're not going
would
to
be the
go
way to
back
do
in
it.
time and play lottos, go back in time and invest in all the companies right before they went big and then sell right after.
No, I'm okay. Thank you.
Also,
Everyone's going to do that. Everyone, as soon as they make time machines, everybody's going back and doing that.
I don't know if I just severely don't understand the concept of a pyramid scheme, but aren't like all those companies out there, because I don't know if they're still a thing, but I know like there were in the past there were companies that the whole gimmick was they didn't really sell their own stuff. They had reps and all of their reps would like sell and get discounts on their stuff. And then you could like, if you're a good enough rep, you could also like start sponsoring other reps and then you got this proportion of what they sold and stuff.
And then
like,
you would get
isn't that
more
just a pyramid
discounts
scheme?
based on what they sold.
A somewhat legit pyramid scheme, like taking the format but trying to make it work?
Yeah, that's the thing is I feel like what it is so pyramid schemes, it's like, yes, in reality, you're working to make someone else more money. Weird. It's just sort of how work is.
Job is a pyramid scheme.
It's just like jobs in general, right? But
I can't believe someone else is
essentially,
making money. No, sorry.
I feel like where pyramid schemes fail is that they don't deliver on what they're selling. For example, people say like Pampered Chef is a pyramid scheme, but Pampered Chef has been going for a long time. Mary Kay, but it's been like going for a long time, So I feel like pyramid scheme probably comes more into play when it fails.
I guess it's the difference between a pyramid scheme and a pyramid business. It's like if you have the pyramid business structure, it can still work.
I want to start one of them when someone's like, this is a pyramid scheme. Go, no, it's a pyramid business until it fails.
Yeah, it's a pyramid business until you find out we're embezzling. Then it's a pyramid scheme.
I want to do a pyramid scheme, but like all I sell is like glitter. Just like high-end glitter.
High-end
something.
glitter.
Just something stupid like that.
Not Sweetwater? We're not going to turn Sweetwater into a pyramid scheme?
No, that's a business.
We're not going to turn Sweetwater into a pyramid business?
We can't talk about that here. Someone's going to steal our idea.
That's a legally not trademarked, but quote-unquote trademarked name. No using it.
This podcast is sponsored by Sweetwater.
Is your water not sweet enough for you? Try Sweetwater. Who are you kidding?
I mean,
even if we started the business, Sweetwater wouldn't sponsor our podcast.
That would be a bad business decision on our part if we sponsored our podcast.
I I'm pretty sure we'd lose money.
Wonderful.
We're
We'd
not
be at the
advertiser
meeting.
friendly.
We'd be at the meeting, like just doing that thing where you keep going opposite sides of the table from each other, arguing, and like we just keep switching sides of the table. Like, but would be a really great partner to have. And it's like, I just ran the numbers, and I just don't think you have the listeners
I love how I'm
for
like,
us to warrant.
I made the comment. I'm like, we're not advertiser friendly. Not because, like normal reasons for not being advertiser friendly. They just don't like us.
Not because
We're
we
not
do anything
advertiser
wrong.
friendly because we don't like advertisers and they're not friendly. Kidding, please pay us. Anyway. So anyway, when was the last time you played Minecraft? Probably long enough ago that like if you got back on, you'd instantly get sucked back in like you were with Animal Crossing.
Absolutely. It's probably been 2 months. It's probably been 2 months since we played Minecraft. I don't know that we'll ever recapture the heyday of when my mom and sister would play with us also. Those were some good times. Yeah, I would absolutely get sucked back into Minecraft easily.
You wouldn't recapture the heyday of when I accidentally led you right through the portal on your very first trip to the Nether, straight into the lava?
That was so upsetting because I was like, oh, tell my sister, I was like, oh, I got a coworker. He plays Minecraft. He can teach us. Okay, because we didn't know how to get to the Nether. That was the whole thing because we were brand new to Minecraft. We didn't know how any of it worked. And I was like, he'll show us. He'll show us how to get to the Nether. And you got on and we were having a great time. We found a portal. You turned it on and you're like, all right, you just walk through. We're like, okay, just walk through it. Load it in. I immediately get the thing that's like, you've burned to death in lava. Like,
yeah, because
I
turns
never
out it was
saw
one of
the
those
Nether.
spawns where the portal was floating in the air and basically had no landmass around it or on it.
And I was like, cool, I love it. I can see now why people go to the Nether. It's awesome.
To be fair, I thought you survived. I thought it was only the other two of us that died.
No, I died immediately. You and my sister survived for like a second, and then I think you both ended up falling, and then you built a platform and made it safe for us.
Well, I remember the platform, which is funny because I should have known better, but I don't know. I wasn't expecting that.
No, it was like, okay, so it's like 3 blocks wide, right? When you come through the portal, there was as you're coming through, there was a 1 block platform on the left and the middle, and then nothing on the right. I came through and on the right. So you guys came in, hit the platform, and then I think walked off, like not realizing. I immediately came through and just fell straight down. Like there's nothing there. That's why I was so upset. I should have known from that moment you were out to get me.
Deliberate.
Yeah, I should have known from that moment.
Is that why we have trust issues? Is that the core of it all?
And that was the start of my trust issues. Yeah, I was like, I just wanted to play a nice game of Minecraft with you.
And the funny part is that is the one and only time I've ever played Minecraft with you.
No, you got on one other time because you built your little house in the mountain and started digging out your mine. That was it.
Did I? I don't remember doing that.
Yeah. You did, because Trey and I actually went back to that world more recently, and he was like, what is this? And I was like, this is Eric's house.
I don't remember that at all. Weird.
Yeah. Well, if you want to come back and see it, just let me know. I'll show you where you used to live.
And I'm going to be like, I did not live here. You're crazy.
I'll be like, yep, you lived right here. Yeah, you lived just above the hockey rink. That's where you lived.
I don't remember a hockey rink.
I don't think you spent a lot of time. Like I said, I think you pretty much took us to the Nether, and then you got on like one other time. I don't think you spent a lot of time looking around. I think you were very unimpressed by our build. I remember the only thing you told me is you saw my house and you said, I like that you didn't use cobblestone.
No, I remember being more appreciative of your builds than that and being like, these are cool. Your swimming pool was cool.
I do remember one time I was playing, and I'm not much of the fighter in the group. Weird. I know. One time I was like at our base, our house, by myself. And so like when you came in our house, there was like the main floor, then there was like this second floor, and then there was like a rooftop, right? And in the middle of the house was an aquarium, so you could kind of see through the whole house through the glass aquarium. And I just remember being on the roof, and one time I looked over to the side, and on the second floor there was a zombie child running around. And I was like, how did he get in the house? No one else is home. I'm going to have to go fight this child, which is just a hilarious sentence to say anyway. I just remember trying to explain to Trey and my sister about how I was home alone with a zombie child. And it felt like I was in one of those Chucky movies where I'm like, I don't know where he is, and he's too fast for me to catch him, you know?
It honestly probably
it was terrifying.
Because that was before That probably would have been before they changed the spawning rules, light levels and stuff. So it probably was just slightly too dark. And
It
just spawned
it
in
might
there.
have been. Yeah, it was super super funny because I just remember I was like terrified to open the door because I was like, what if he's on the other side of the door?
It's okay.
So when
I accidentally
yeah,
burnt down my first, well, not first, but one of my first Minecraft houses accidentally burnt the entire thing down after I took painstaking time to build the whole thing.
that does happen.
Well, so
That's
what
the
I
worst.
did is I kind of wanted to build like an underwater Atlantis-y dome. And this was years and years and years and years
Mm-hmm.
ago. This was like probably like 1.4, 1.5 era. So like ages ago.
Yeah.
But rather than building underwater, I decided to excavate an entire underground, like giant square cube area, then built the glass dome, then built the house inside,
Oh,
then
and then you're
filled
gonna
the
get rid
outside
of
with
it.
water,
Yeah,
right?
that's actually smart. Yeah.
The house inside was wooden, and I was building it, and as I'm doing the whole interior, I get to the top floor, and I decided I want to put in a campfire. And this was before I knew that fire spread, because this was like, I was a younger kid. And
Yeah.
so I put a campfire in using like netherrack or whatever. Not a campfire because campfires didn't exist, but I used like netherrack to put like a fireplace in. And then I'm working
Yeah.
like down on the ground level, like trying to landscape around the house. And I turn around one of the times and the whole thing's on fire and half the blocks were missing. And I was like, what is happening? Full on panic mode. It was bad.
Yeah, that's awful. Did you just go back to your last save? And you're like,
No, because
anyway.
the problem is we were playing at the time. It was me and my two older brothers. We were
Oh.
playing on one save, so we couldn't like reload. So I
Yeah.
was kind of and then I had to just repair the whole thing and panic, and they were laughing
That's
way too hard.
sad. Because there was a time
And that was in
Trey
survival,
did
too.
that. Yeah, that's the only way we play is survival. I think it's a lot more of a challenge to have to build things, but you also have to collect the materials.
Yeah, for sure.
But also then it's easier to play with other people because everyone can like go do whatever they want while you're building.
Yeah.
So
That
but
one
yeah,
was actually
Trey
kinda
did
fun.
that.
That world, we still have that world on the Xbox.
He was doing an infinite lava pool, so that way we could run our furnaces off of infinite lava.
Yeah.
I don't really know what happened because he had like dug down, and so he was like under the house. But I guess like I don't know, something had happened, and there wasn't like I don't know if he forgot to put like cobblestone or what, but it caught the floor of the house on fire.
And you know the funniest part about that whole thing? Infinite lava sources don't work.
Yeah, they do. What do you mean?
No, they don't. Unless they work on Bedrock, because I always play on Java.
Oh, they work on Bedrock, yeah, because we made like we can make like a pool. It has like infinite lava, and then it drips down into cauldrons.
Well, okay, that's
and then you can fill up the cauldrons.
Dripping
Yeah.
in cauldrons, yeah.
What do you
I'm
mean?
talking like infinite lava the same way you do infinite.
Sorry, no, I meant so it can drip into cauldrons and infinitely make
Okay.
lava
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
cauldrons.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was like, what are you talking about? But no, I see what you're saying, like a pool of lava. But yeah, it was just funny because it caught the house on fire, and then the fish tank fell, and there were just like fish everywhere, and stuff was on fire, and it was chaos. And Trey was so mad, and I go, "We're the only people on. We'll just get off and reload from where we last were." It'll be fine. That's just the worst, though. The worst is when you work on something for forever and then you somehow catch it on fire, or I don't know. My tragic thing in Minecraft was that every time I walked past a skeleton horse, it would get hit by lightning, and then there would be 3 skeleton horses with 3 skeleton riders shooting at me. And it only happened when I was alone. It happened so many times, and I would start freaking out, and then everybody would have to try to come like help me, try not to die. It was terrible. And nobody believed me that this was happening because they would just show up and the skeletons are there. And I'm like, no, every time I go past a skeleton horse. So everyone else loves skeleton horses, and I'm like, I hate them. I don't want them around.
Every time.
And
they get
then-
struck by lightning.
Yeah, and then one time I was outside of our fence, and Trey was like up on the roof, and he happened to be looking in my direction, and he saw it happen, and I was like, again, really? But finally Trey
Which is
saw it
crazy,
happen to
'cause
me,
I
and
don't
I was
think
like,
I've ever had that happen. Not even once.
it happened to me like 5 or 6 times in that one world.
Well, I've
like I
been
said,
playing Minecraft since
nobody
it
would
came
believe
out,
me.
basically, because I
Yeah.
played it on the free online demo thing that was like the
Yeah.
China Online World thing,
Yeah,
and I've never had that happen.
it's wild. And that's the thing. No one else I've ever played with has it happen to them. They never know what I'm talking about. And only because Trey saw it happen to me that he knows what I'm talking about. But like every time I was by myself, it would happen and I would start freaking out. And yeah, and then you're trying to explain to people and they're just like, uh-huh. Are you sure the skeletons didn't just spawn? And I'm like, it's the middle of the day. What are you talking about?
Do you also get
The
struck by
worst.
lightning randomly every time it's raining?
Every time. That's the thing, is it wouldn't even be raining. It's just
Just out of nowhere. That's That's not
Just out
normal,
of
Cassie.
nowhere. Yeah. It's really sad. We talk about that. We wish we would have recorded us playing because there's just so many things that happen that we're like, I don't know. I just don't even know how to explain this. Like,
The fact that you didn't record that, that's why we're not really friends.
pretty much.
It's a bit of a stretch, but